Hello guys, this is Carrie again, and I have another video for you today. Today I have a tutorial on using oil pastels. So let's get started. Before we start, this is Coloring Carrie. There is a subscription link down below. There is an Amazon wish list as well as links to various previous videos and all sorts of other stuff up there. I'm sorry, the tip jar is there. The subscription link is up there. So there's that. So let's get started and talk about these oil pastels and share some of the things with you guys. So in the past, if you saw my previous videos, I talked about how I fell in love with oil pastels, and I really wanted to come up with a way to use them on pastel paper. So I got two different kinds of pastel papers, and I'm going to talk to you about the two different kinds. And so if you haven't seen my previous video I did on tracing and transferring the image, there'll be a link to it up below. The tracing method works really well for things that are too thick for you to see underneath it. So you can put paper down below. But in this case, for this pastel paper is thin and opaque enough for me that I can actually see the underneath page. So for this, I was able to just come on in with, I think I used a 4B pencil and trace it in with a 4B pencil. And I did, as in the past where I made some executive decisions, I made some executive decisions here in terms of the tracing, and some things I decided to make lighter and some things I decided to make darker. But this is the traced image. So this was pretty simple to do. The only thing I did here is I took the paper out of the coloring book, and this is from this coloring book, Dragon World, that Blue Star sent to me a while ago, and I reviewed, and there'll be a link to that review up there. I really wanted to try my oil pastels. So I got this pastel paper. This is 400 series Strathmore pastel paper that we're going to be using for this adult coloring book tutorial. However, there are other kinds of pastel papers, other brands. There's also something called pastel pad. So this is a lot more expensive. I think this small pad here retails for over $15. And I think it's closer to 22, whereas this I think was like $8. So, and this has 24 sheets, and this I think is like 12 sheets. Yeah, and it's a fraction of the size. So you'll see that the price difference is quite high. But what you get with this is you get something that you really don't get with the other one. First of all, you get this wax paper in between the sheets. The sheets are really thick. So this is actual like card. And then you get another sheet in between the next sheet, so that you don't need a fixative with this if you want to keep it in the notebook. Now, some people, might have been a little bit confused about before when I mentioned using a fixative for oil pastels. Oil pastels do not need a fixative. However, if you're doing something like what I was hoping to do is to just keep them in the book and I wasn't framing them, I wanted to use a fixative so that when they went between the sheets, they didn't smudge. So anyway, but with something like this, you don't need a fixative at all. So, but this is another option for you. I got this for free when I bought this 12 set, and I don't know if that deal was still available, but I was really happy about that. So, so this is what I got first, and I got this a while ago. So this I got for myself, and this my wife got me for Christmas. So that's what I have today, and because it was easier to do it this way, and because the drawing was so big, I decided to just trace it on here with the regular graphite pencil. And so let's get started. First thing is, you use oil pastels to sort of, one of the things that people do with it is to create an oil painting type image. So you definitely want to have your layers going, and you're going to want to layer. There's a video on YouTube, and there'll be a link to it below, where the guy talks about putting in 3 layers and using a special technique. We're going to do something a little bit similar. And this is also my sheet that I put in to do my colors, because once you get, if you've never worked with oil pastels, I totally love having done this. And I did this sheet when I first got them, and the paper looks great. So this I think is going to last a lot more than, and you can color right in the page too if you want to do that. And I think I did one where, but you saw the oil start to go out when I did that right away. But anyway, So I have this here, and I have my colors as well as a colorless blender. I did get a colorless blender, which you pretty much use the same way that you use a colorless blender, like a colorless blender pencil, to get the color in the tooth of the paper and to do all that other stuff. And then I got, this is from the original landscape set. And let's see here. I think I want to use this this raw umber up here, which I think is this color here. So so just to show you how I did this, so that it's all in the order that it's in the box, because otherwise I would not know what I have here. So that is that, and I'm going to use this a little bit on the trees. So this is a really highly pigmented, and I'm going to be layering a bunch of colors, so I'm okay with it, with being able to see the paper through. And I'm going to do this. So I'm going to do this tree, and I think, yeah, I'm going to do this tree, and I'm going to take a break, and then I'll be right back with the tree mostly done. So I'm going to do this tree. I'm going to do a whole bunch of the other ones in similar color. So I'm going to take a quick break, and then I'll be right back with this mostly done, and then we'll talk about the next step, and we'll just keep going. I'm not going to do the whole painting for you, but I'm going to do a few trees and a few, maybe one of the rocks. So I'll be right back. All right, so I'm back. I put in the first layer on this, and one of the things that you'll notice about oil pastels, if you haven't worked with these before, is, first of all, these are, I think, probably just amazing oil pastels. It feels like you're coloring with lipstick. It's so different than working with color pencil, and it's so just like, I don't know, I really love it, and it makes me want to draw more and more. And that's why I took the time to do this, because I really wanted to work more with these oil pastels. So now I've picked out my next color. My next color is going to be burnt sienna, and then I'm going to go back over it with the raw umber, and then use the raw sienna for highlights. But let me get this burnt sienna. So using my color chart here to help me navigate where it is, the burnt sienna, I think, is all right, that's that one. Okay, so this is the burnt sienna. And you don't need to use oil pastels that are this fancy. You can use any ones that you like. There's different ways of putting down the strokes. I'm going to be using these short sort of layering strokes here to create the sense of lines going through in the way. So once again, I'm going to take a break and then be right back with you. And I'm going to do the other trees, and then I'll come back and we'll, you know, go back in, and then I'll take another break, and then we'll come back. So I'll take a break. I'll be right back. Okay, so I decided halfway through that I didn't want all the trees to look exactly the same. So I'm gonna go, oh, I forgot to do this. So I'm probably gonna take a break and do this, and then go back in with the next layer. So looking at my trusty cheat sheet, I think I said I was gonna go back over it with raw umber, but I think I'm gonna go back over it with burnt umber instead, and save a little bit of the yellow ochre for this side for some of the highlights. And I'm not really all that concerned about staying in the lines. I'm not concerned at all about preserving the underpainting, which is probably the reason why the underpainting is kind of the actual traced image is a little bit sloppy. I'm not at all concerned with preserving that. But you can be more careful about staying within the lines, but I'm doing this for fun, and so I'm not really all that concerned about it. I just want the enjoyment of it. All right. So I finished what I said I would do. I forgot that again. What is with me forgetting? The other thing is, if you're not careful, like I wasn't being particularly careful, you can end up with smudges. So you got to be a little bit careful, or at least more careful than I have personally been. So let me put in this yellow, and I'll be right back with the next step. Okay, so I am back, and I did the yellow. And the other thing to keep in mind is, as with many other mediums, you're supposed to start with the lightest color first and then go back in with your darker colors. I clearly didn't do that, so I ended up with this. Not a big deal. You can take a baby wipe and the baby wipe will clean that out. So what I'm going to do at this point is, because it's a little bit difficult to keep track of everything and then take the breaks, is I'm just going to work on this and finish it up to the best of my ability. I am back, and this is what I've done so far. This took not that long. I put in 2 half-hour TV shows, skipping the commercials. So maybe, I don't know, 40 minutes to do this, to get it to this stage. So just to show you the difference in speed between doing this and the colored pencil, I have here my Colorless Blender. look who's watching me. It's a little creepy sometimes, but you know, whatever. So I used my Colorless Blender, and I wasn't on film when I cleaned it up. So let me show you with this yellow, and this is just a regular Costco baby wipe, which we buy these in bulk even though we don't have any kids. Because these are really useful for all sorts of things. You can even use these to clean some of your handbags. If you have handbags at the very bottom of it, they can be really dirty. So anyway, so you clean this up like this, and you can get it pretty cleaned up. So I'm not sure if you can see it, but you see all the extra there, and that looks pretty good. If I was more interested in getting it a little bit cleaner, I could have it be a little cleaner, but it doesn't really matter all that much to me for it to be perfect. So anyway, that is how you get those cleaned up with the baby wipes. And I tried to use the baby wipe to clean up some of that excess on the page, but in this particular page, it was just too much for this page. It's too wet for the page, so I definitely don't recommend that you use the baby wipes on the page itself unless you have a thicker stock. But I have this underneath here as a sort of reference and I've made some editorial changes. But I used a mixture of both of these sets, the oil and I used a mixture of both of these sets, the landscape and the 12 starter set, both of which are really very nice. So I did this. I didn't have a true gray, so I used like some blues and that had a green gray. So I used that green gray. I used a little bit of Mars black on here, and then I did the outline with the Mars black. So that's it. Oh, I'm sorry. As I said earlier, you can't eat while you do this. So otherwise I would just finish the whole thing, but I'm starting to get pretty hungry. So I'm just going to end it here so that I can go and get something to eat. But I wanted to show you what what it looks like. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll be able to see the whole thing when it's finally finished. So anyway, I'm so glad that you guys stayed with me for this, and I hope you guys like the video. Subscribe if you like the video, if you like the video, and I will see you guys next time for the next video. So thank you guys so much, and have a great day, and I hope you enjoyed this. All right, bye.